Hi, I'm Hazel. I'm a retired traveling stripper, and I just wanted to make a video on my experience dancing in Guam. I haven't been dancing since like July 2021, and now it's November, so like a little bit. And I'm living in California with a man that I met on Guam and fell in love with. So like, life has been crazy. I've lived in Atlanta, I've lived California, Guam, Portland, and like danced in all those places in the last couple of years. I've had like a lot of people ask me questions on Guam and like how I got there and whatnot, and like this video, I don't want it to be like a this is how you get to Guam. Like, there are people in like agencies that you can find on Instagram that help you get to Guam. I did it all myself. Like, I just want to talk about like my experience and my journey getting there, because like I didn't use an agency. I sort of just like went, and I guess I'll get into that now. And I'm also going to crochet a Christmas sweater for my dog while I talk, because I always have to be doing something with my hands. Okay, so I was dancing in Portland, and I met a girl from Sweden who came to Portland to dance and like just started at my club, and she was like super tan, and I was like, I didn't know you get super tan in Sweden, like hella rude. And she was like, actually, I just got back from Guam. I was there for 3 months dancing. And I was like, what is Guam? Like, I don't know, like I feel like Americans aren't really like educated, but basically Guam is like an American territory in the Pacific Islands. So like it's between Japan and Hawaii, but America owns it. And like I've always said, it's like America town of Asia. Like it reminds me of Vegas kind of, or like what you would think Vegas was, like minus the gambling, just like sort of the partying. But anyways, I was like, what's Guam? And she told me that she was there dancing, and like told me about her time and whatnot. And she worked at a different club than I ended up working at, but basically she just piqued my interest, and I started Googling different clubs on Guam. There's 4. I chose a couple that like I thought would fit me best, and emailed them both. I think one of them had a phone number, so like I texted the number, and they were both like, I like sent them photos and was like, I live in Portland, I'm interested in dancing, I have a friend who danced on Guam, blah blah blah. And like when you go to these websites, oh my god, this video is gonna be so long. When you go to these websites, like they are trying to like get dancers to come. Like, Guam is in the middle of the Pacific Islands, so there's like a bunch of like Navy and Marine bases on it, and like so there's constantly like these military men coming in. And if you think about it, like these Navy men have been on a boat for like what, 3-4 months, have been getting their paychecks deposited into their account, and then have nothing to spend it on because they have no reception at sea and blah blah blah. Then they show up at this island and there's 4 strip clubs. Like, it's kind of perfect, but it's like hard to get. It's far. It's like a 15-hour flight from the west coast of America, and like it's a lot to get there. So anyway, these clubs like on their websites are like, we'll put you up in housing, and you like work on a contract and like come out here and shit like that. Fuck, I don't think I'm supposed to swear on YouTube. Ugh. Damn it. I cannot talk without swearing. Basically, like, yeah, so I messaged these 2 clubs. One of them reached out to me, and it was like a male manager. And then the other website of the club that I have found was like women owned and women managed by like a former dancer. And so like I was automatically more interested in that. Like, I'm going to some random island in Asia, and like I don't know, I'm just more trusting of women, but I know like women do crime too. So I had like messaged with them, and yeah. So what's next in my notes here is basically like to talk about the contract, getting my ticket, and the housing. So like at this point I had found my club that I wanted. It was women owned, women operated, and they had like hired me. Then it was time to like decide on my contract. So like when you go to Guam, you go for a contract. So I was contracted for 48 shifts. Like you like choose the amount of shifts, and that's either a 2-month contract if I work 5 days a week, or a 6-month or a 3-month contract if I work 5 days a week. You have to work at least 5 days a week. It's a part of your contract. You can work 6, you can work 7, and like as soon as you finish your 48 shifts, your contract's up. So some people just go there and just work and like bust out their 48 shifts. Me, I was trying to relax, so I'd work like 5 days a week, 2 days off, fake sick, like I don't know. But basically you're contracted, and like another part of your contract is like when you're in Guam, you're paid to work. Like you're paid to show up. So like I would get something like $500 per 6 shifts, which equals $88 a shift. So every day I showed up, I got $88, and like they pay you to come. As far as my plane ticket, they paid for my plane ticket. When I finished my contract of 48 shifts, like they pay for your plane ticket to come. And it's like if you don't work your 48 shifts, you have to pay for your flight, pay them back for your flight there. Or like it's something like they'll pay for your flight there, you work 24 shifts, they pay for it, and if you work another like 24, which makes it 48, they buy your ticket back. So basically like I didn't pay any transportation. Like they flew me out, and like when I worked a certain amount of shifts, like I didn't owe them for it anymore. And they were also paying me that $88 stipend every shift. For housing, like they also put the travel dancers, like I want to say American Girls, but it's like I danced with girls from Brazil, Paris, like people come from all over to dance in Guam, because it's like these men are just getting funneled in via military ship with military money, and it's like a fun place to be. It's sunny, it's 80 degrees every day, like I don't know, it was awesome. Oh yeah, so for the housing, they found me housing. The club that I work for has a apartment above the club, so like some girls stay there. They also have 2 apartments near the club. Like I stayed 5 minutes from the club, like drive, like up the beach. So like if I wanted to walk to work, I could. It would be like a 20-minute walk on the beach, and it's like I would never do that. For transportation, which is another thing I have here to talk about, there's like a ton of taxi services, and like at the airport tons of taxi services, but this sounds bad, but Korean taxi, that's what it's called. It's a Korean family, and like all the clubs have their phone number. If you call them from anywhere and tell them where you are, they'll tell you how many minutes it takes to get to you. It's like way more efficient than Uber. Like I would be at home before my shift, call, hi, I'm Liana, staying at blah, 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 and I need to go to blank club. And there'd be like 4 minutes. And then they'd be there 4 minutes later, pick us up, bring us. I stayed in a room with another girl. We were staying in like an extended stay apartment. I know this is like so jumbled. It's just like hard to put it all together in my mind. But yeah, we got an extended stay apartment. It was like half hotel, half apartments. And like I stayed in a room with a girl, and then there was a second bedroom with 2 girls in it. I don't want to talk bad, because like what if they watch this? They're all right. One bitch stole from me, one bitch left to Hawaii and then got stranded there because like the island locked down due to COVID, and then another girl had scabies. So that's what I was dealing with these roommates. You don't get to pick your roommate, they just put you where they have available housing, and you have to cross your fingers that like you're staying with cool girls. they charge $11 a day for housing. When you're getting like $88 a shift, it's like barely anything. I think it equaled to like $380 a month if you pay $11 a day. And it's like, you're staying in a nice place and you don't have to worry about anything. They've already like sorted all that out for you. And then like basically the shifts there were from 9 to 2, like 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. So like I would have all day long chill, or maybe it was 7 to 2. I think that sounds more right. 7 or 8 to 2 a.m. But you'd wake up, have your whole day on Guam, and then this video is so horrible because like I did not even talk about my flight, but I guess that's not important. It takes 15 hours, as long as you know that. But yeah, I would wake up, have my whole day, like have breakfast or like lunch, brunch probably, and then go to the beach or go shopping, and then get back home, shower, and then like one of us girls in the apartment would call the taxi, and then we would all go to work together, work till 2 a.m, come home, count our money, chill, and like do it all again the next day. And it's like, you are busting ass. Like I lost so much weight working on Guam because like 6 shifts a week, or like I was doing 5 from like 7 to 2. It's like that's a lot of physical energy. One thing I wanted to mention is like the money is only good on Guam when ships come to notice how I didn't even continue my crochet. I can't crochet and talk. When ships come to port. So like there would be like a couple of weeks where no ships came in, so like there weren't like that many men on the island to like come to the club. But then like 3 would come at the same time, then your club is packed, and it's like just random, and like sometimes depends on like military moves, which it's like makes you feel like a tiny little fish in a big ocean. But it's like it would always happen. Or like during slow weeks, like a lot of the locals would come. Locals on Guam are called chamorro. They have great food. Another thing I wanted to talk about was like how making money works in the club on Guam. Like I've just been talking about like Guam in general, not really from like a stripper's perspective, but so like you can drink in America at clubs, like in Portland and in Atlanta. Like I've drank with my clientele. However, in Guam, you actually get paid to drink with the men. It's a pro and a con. A pro because you're paid every time you sit there and have a drink with a man. And like sometimes in Atlanta I would sit with a guy, have a drink with him, and he'd buy me the drink. But then it's like, I'm trying to get money, like, do you want to dance? Like, what's up? What you trying to do? And they're like, oh, like, I'm just sitting and drinking. And it's like, then you just wasted all that time and you're a little bit drunk, but like not even for money. However, in Guam, anytime you're sitting with a man, he has to buy you a drink. Like, you can't sit with a guy unless you have a drink in front of you. Also, I should bring up the concept of mama-sans. It's like an amplified house mom. Like, there are these like Korean and Japanese ladies in the club, and like, okay, I'll walk you through like what they would be like. So if a mama-sans seen an American soldier, and like he was like a light-skinned black dude, like, come on, we're strippers, we talk like that, and like she knew me, or I wasn't doing anything, she'd grab me, drag me over to him, and sit me down. So like while I was on Guam, I lost a lot of my confidence with my approach because I was being dragged by a mama-sans to men that she would think liked me. If a Japanese man came in and there was like a little blonde girl with a pixie haircut, super pale, and like emo makeup, they would drag her over to the Japanese guy because that's their like American fetish or whatever. I did really good with like the soldiers, less good with like the Japanese Korean tourists, because I'm Filipino. I look like a lot of girls there, so I'm not as like exotic. However, like I look native to Guam, so the soldiers that would go there are like, ooh, my little Guam baddie. Yeah. Anyways, they have to buy you a drink. So, like, say the Mama Sans brings me to this guy and sits me down, and we chat for a second, literally a second. Hi, like, do you think I'm cute? Sit down. The Mama Sans would be like, buy her a drink, buy her a drink. And, like, some guys would be like, no, because they know the game, or like, not yet, I'm still chilling. And then I would leave. I would have to leave. That would be super rare. Most of the time, the guy's like, yeah, I'll buy her a drink. So, like, say he says, yeah, I'll get her a drink. The Mama Sans would be like, $20. The drinks prices go as $20, $50, or $100. And usually the Americans would be like, $20 for a drink. And then I'd be like, are you poor? And then they'd be like, no. So they'd buy me the $20 drink. How you get paid for that is you get half of the drink price. So if they bought you a $20 drink, I get $10 of that, and the club gets 10. If they bought me a $50 drink, which is bigger and has more in it, so when you're sitting with a guy for a while, you're like, just get me a $50 drink, it's bigger, I'll drink it slow, so that they're not keeping getting charged, then, like, I would get $25. The $100 drinks are, like, not like big drinks, but they're like fancy, and they're like shots. So like if a guy wants to do a shot, it's $100 shot, and like you'd be surprised how many guys will cough up $100 for you to do a Patron shot with them. And for that I would get $50. How you know how much you have is it's all by a coin. Like, I don't know how to do editing. Like, I wish I could like insert a photo, because I have a photo of like all my coins. It's like the coin with $20 or a coin with $50, and you collect them through the night, and at the end of the night you go to the club and give them, and then they count it and then give you half the cash, and they keep the coins. And like that's how it works. So like a lot of nights, like I wouldn't even dance. Like I would just sit and drink with guys and like be like basically literally entertaining at the table, like because they've been bored on this shit a lot of the times. Like I just keep going back to like the military men, because that's what I usually worked with. Like I knew like some people who lived on Guam, like locals, and like they were cool too, but like as far as like the Japanese and Korean tourists, like I didn't get very far with them. Like they weren't into me, so it was like mostly these soldier types. But basically like I would just be raunchy and loud, and like that's how I made my bag, like literally by talking and drinking. Because you're getting paid to drink, it does encourage you to drink way more. There is a word, like I'm not gonna say it here because I don't want people to like men to watch this and know what the code word is, but there's a drink. Most clubs have a drink. Like in Portland, my clubs, it was like a martini. Like if you order that, it's fucking water with an olive. Like there is a code for that for the different clubs in Guam, so make sure you find that, because when they're like, you're drinking, like, you're gonna want to order that, and you're gonna want to have, like, a break. And some girls, like, this is, like, obviously my opinion, it's harder for girls who don't drink to do well in Guam. Like, it isn't fun to fake drink, like, you can tell, like, also, like, the whole culture of Guam is, like I said, very Vegas, very party, very, like, I don't know, we drink, we're loud, like, so there's that. I did do some, like, VIPs with, like, some of my more regular customers who would come in. How that's charged is, at my club, it was $100 per 10 minutes, so if they wanted an hour, it would be $600, which is about right for, like, clubs that's comparable to Atlanta. There are no floor dances. So like in Atlanta, famous for the $10 floor dance, there's nothing like that there. However, it's full touch. So when you're on stage and you're dancing, like you can put people's hands on you, and like I don't do that. Wouldn't be bad if I did, but like I don't. I'm like hella, I go for like the good girl. Like you don't want to do anything gross to me. Like, don't I remind you of like innocence? I don't know. But yeah, I also wanted to talk, I'm looking at my notes, I also wanted to talk about like other living things, like the mall and the store. So like the Micronesia Mall is the mall on Guam. Guam is only 19 miles long by 30 miles wide. It's like smaller than most major cities. So like there's one mall on Guam, and like there's a grocery store there, and there's a red bus that goes around to a bunch of resorts, and you can like wait for free and the shuttle will take you to the mall. So like I did that a few times. However, Korean taxi is like $7 a ride. It's like hella cheap, and it's like I was making stripper money. So if I had to like grocery shop, I would just call Korean taxi to the mall, go to the mall, grocery shop, shop around, call Korean taxi. They'd pick me up and bring me back home. And that's better than like waiting for the shuttle with all your groceries. Although I did do that a few times. I also wanted to talk about the concept of buying out. This is something I've only experienced on Guam, but basically a man can pay the club, like, per your permission. Like, if you didn't want to go and they were hella weird, like, you could say no. But, like, a man could pay the club for both of you to leave until 2 a.m. when he would have to have you back, because that's the end of your shift. They keep his ID for security reasons, but like this worked for me a few times with more like shy country boys in the Navy that are young, like 19, 20, and it's like, why don't we just get a bottle of champagne, my treat, I'll buy it for the both of us. Like I would say that, and like we can go sit on the beach. And a lot of the time these guys would bite, and then like the way it was charged, I think it was like $400 an hour based on until 2 a.m. came. So it would be, I think, yeah, $1,200 would be if they came right at like 7 or 8 and took you for the whole night. That's how much it would cost. You would get half, the club would get half. If they came at like midnight and wanted to buy you out, it would obviously be prorated because there's only 2 hours. I know there's gonna be questions like, well, what do they do like when they leave? Like, honestly, whatever you want. Like, I will straight up say I got bought out at the club and then like did go drink champagne on the beach until 2 a.m. and then walked back drunk to the club with this man. And it's like, he still follows me on Instagram, and it was a fun night. And it's like, people will say like, well, girls will do blah blah blah, like bad things, like because they're leaving the club, or bad things can happen to the girl. Whereas it's like, how many times have you been working in the States and you're like, I wish we could just get out of here and you could just give me the money? Because like a lot of these men, when they're locked up on these ships and then they come to Guam, they don't want to be in the strip club with all the guys that they were just on this ship with for 3 months. Like, I would tell them like, oh, I know this little Mexican restaurant, we can like go get margarita drunk and eat tacos, and like I guarantee none of your like buddies will be there. And it is this little like small taco shop, and then like we go have tacos, and that is so much more meaningful to them than being in the club, buying you those drinks, you getting those coins. It's like more like getting the girlfriend experience. And like I did not do anything dirty on Guam. Like, I was a hella good girl on Guam. I was on Tinder and I met the man that like I'm in love with and dating now. Like, he's the only person I was with on Guam. And like, you can be a successful dancer without doing extras there. Like, if I were to like compare, in Atlanta, I felt like much more girls were full service than not. And it was more hard to be successful when you weren't full service. That's all my notes. I know I just like hella rambled for like almost a half hour. If you have any questions, I guess ask them and I will answer them. Otherwise, I hope you go to Guam and have fun.